What's going on, everybody? Well, we're back for another video today, and what we're going to be focused on today is this water box AIO 40-gallon aquarium that you see right here. And what we used to keep in this thing is saltwater fish. We used to have a couple of clownfish, some corals, things of that nature in here, but well, quite some time ago we quit saltwater. And that's just simply because that one saltwater tank was taking as long to maintain as all of our other tanks, and we've got like 50 of them at this point. So we broke that thing down and we quit saltwater. And what we're going to be doing today is actually fully scaping this tank out into a really cool freshwater aquascape. Now, what I'm going to need from you guys is I need some ideas for fish. Just remember, it's a 40-gallon tank. Go ahead and comment below and let me know what kind of fish you think I should put in this tank. We want to put something really cool because this scape is epic. It's actually September the 3rd when I am filming this intro, which is the day I released this video. I know that the scape is epic. I know that it looks really cool. So I want from you some really interesting, cool fish that could go in this scape once you've watched through this video and see it at the end there. So make sure you comment that below. Also, if you haven't visited the csbrand.com, entered your email address, I'm giving you a chance to win a piece of Christopher Scott merch. If you go enter your email address at the csbrand.com prior to its launch, I'm going to pick one random person out of the people that sign up with their email address prior to the launch. I'm going to send you a free piece of merch just for putting in your email address, so make sure you go do that right now. And with all that, let's just go ahead and get into this video today. All right, well, the first step in getting this scape started is we need to lay down a nutrition layer in our substrate. And what we're gonna be using for that is fluval stratum planted substrate. I use this fluval stratum in a lot of my tanks and it works really well. It's a very good planted substrate. It is on the more expensive side, but I've had really good luck with it. Now, as we have this in here, I'm gonna go ahead and push this back up into the corners. There's not gonna be a whole lot of plants in the foreground. In fact, there's not gonna be any plants in the foreground really at all. All right, now that we have our planted substrate in here, we're gonna start adding our cover substrate. And this is going to be a mixture of some pool filter sand and a little bit of a type of crushed rock. And this stuff will contrast with our rock that we're using really well. This stuff is extremely dirty, so I had to wash it really well before putting it in here, and it actually makes for spreading this stuff out to be kind of tough. So what I'm doing here is I put this substrate in first in the front because it'll provide a barrier to keep this planted substrate in place as I put it over top of the planted substrate. We just want a thin layer over top of the actual planted substrate just to be able to cover it up for right now. So when we start this hardscape, it's just covered, and then we'll come back later and actually fill it in a little more. So that'll get us going for our substrate for the moment. And now for our piece of driftwood. This piece of driftwood is amazing. I love this thing. So this piece of driftwood is going to sit right here in the middle like that. Now granted, we have a bunch of hardscaping to go around it. So what I want to do is just come back in this paintbrush and start smoothing some of this substrate out around this scape and kind of backfilling the spaces where I took substrate out or moved it because of the movements of rocks. We'll add some additional substrate here in just a minute, but I really like the way this substrate looks with these rocks. It matches in some situations, but then in others it kind of contrasts, which really looks nice. Okay, well, I do believe I have the hardscape done with the exception of some details in the front and such, but we're gonna go ahead and get this thing finished up so we can get on to planting. All right, before we go any further, what I want to do is go ahead and fill this up with water and make sure all the elements stay in place. That'll also allow for the substrate to fully saturate, and we can find any spots that we need to fix as a part of that. My method of putting water in a tank with substrate like this is I want to put a paper towel back here in the back and then use my Python to slowly direct water onto the paper towel, allowing it to then flow off the paper towel onto the substrate. Now that we have everything done from a hardscape perspective, it is time to go ahead and start planting. And what I'd like to start with is a couple of Java ferns. And Java ferns are rhizome based, so we do not want to plant them in the substrate. What we want to do is just lodge them in between trees and things of that nature on rock. So there will be one right there. There. I also want to bring in some of these Amazon swords, and we're just going to stuff these with our fingers just down into the substrate, making sure that they get fully down into that nutrition layer, which is that fluval stratum substrate. A couple of these over here. Those will grow in really nicely over time. And we're going to come back in over on this side as well. Put a couple of these over here. Now back in the background back here, I'm gonna add a couple of stems of bacopa. As that bacopa grows in, it'll look really nice back there. You can't really see it right now. A nice little lotus. This is off of a bulb, and it's actually started to create its own new little bulb. And we're gonna put this maybe like right down in here. Add some more of this bacopa back here in the background. So like I said, this stuff will start to grow out and look fantastic once it has. I have a little Anubias nana. I'm gonna stick this up in here in the foreground, just up in the rocks. And now I have some Christmas moss, and I'm really thinking about taking this Christmas moss and just stuffing this right down inside of the top of this tree trunk. Well, and that's just simply because where moss would normally grow, somewhere like that. I'm gonna put some of that right there. Just let that grow naturally out of that. One of these lace bulbs back here. And with these bulbs, you just wanna plant the bulb about halfway down into the substrate. We're gonna add this curly bulb, and I'm not really sure what this is called, but you'll see it on the screen here. But I'm gonna push that down into the substrate as well. Like I said, only burying about half of it down in there. Now there's a lot of green in here, so I wanna get rid of some of that green. Give it a little bit of color with some of this. I believe it's called golden sea plant. That'll stand up really nicely over there. We're gonna also add a little bit of broadleaf Ludwigia. All right, well with that, I think we have it planted. So next step, we just need to get some water in this thing. So let's get that done. So now that this thing is scaped, what we need to do is go ahead and get the filtration set up. Right now the water's only been dechlorinated, but this particular tank, because it was a saltwater tank, it has a sump filtration system built into the back of it, and we're gonna go ahead and set that up now. First step here is in this first chamber right here, we're gonna take our mechanical filtration media, which this is just our polyfill filter cloth. We're gonna stuff it right down into these first two chambers. Now that will provide us plenty of mechanical filtration. And now that we have mechanical filtration in here, before we add our biological, I wanna go ahead and get the pump running and everything going. Now that we have the water in the tank, the sump is full. We're gonna go ahead and plug the pump in and see what happens. And we have water flow. I'm gonna add a couple of detail elements here and try to pull this together. This aquascape is done. I'm not sure how I feel about it though. You're gonna have to let me know in the comments what you guys think about it, but I'm not really sure how I feel about it. So let me know down below what you think. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave this thing for a couple of days, and we are gonna see what it looks like when these plants start to really stand up and start to grow in. I'm gonna add one more element to this thing, and that is gonna be some leaf litter. I have been soaking this stuff for a couple of days, getting all the tannins out, and I don't know how much of it is going to actually sink, but we're gonna add some of this leaf litter into this tank. So I went ahead and added the leaf litter down here, and it's actually giving it a nice little aesthetic, and we may get some tannins in the water from it, but overall the tank is looking fantastic. It has fully been cycled. Everything is good to go.
2,000 years later.
Take a look at this tank. This thing is starting to grow in. I'm really starting to like it. But our big Madagascar lace bulb, look at that thing. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful. It actually has a stem coming all the way up, coming out of the water, and I don't normally keep these plants, so I gotta figure out what I do with that. I don't know if it's gonna bloom. I don't know if I need to cut it back. I don't know, but I gotta find out. But that lace bulb is looking good. And then we have this bulb over here. It's got this kind of curly thing in it, and you can see maybe, come on, focus, focus, focus. I don't have a macro lens, so you can kind of see that there are holes in this one too. So this is actually a type of lace bulb as well. But we have some of the broadleaf Ludwigia back there, some of the golden Nisea. The Bacopa back there is looking good. We got our Java ferns and our Amazon swords, our little Anubias Nana Petite, but everything in here is looking fantastic. So if you have not taken a chance yet to go ahead and comment the type of fish that you want to see in this thing, make sure you do that now. And also, I'm going to go ahead and let you know, I'm going to give away another piece of Christopher Scott merch, and all you have to do to enter is make sure you comment as many fish types as you want. If I end up choosing your fish type and you are the first person to comment that, I'm going to send you a free piece of merch. So comment as many times and as often as you want the type of fish you want to see in this tank. Now, I will tell you before anybody comments it, in my last video, when I picked up the plants for this tank, I went ahead and picked up 5 of these little Cory catfish. These are Julie Corys, so that one doesn't count because those are going in there anyway. But any other fish you want to see put in here, make sure you comment it for your chance to win a piece of merchandise. I will release in one of my upcoming videos who won and what fish are going in here, so make sure you comment as many times and as often as you want what type of fish you would like to see in here. With that, well, what are you doing? Spraying yourself in the face? All right, well, we got little Max here, and he's representing the Texas Tech football t-shirt, and that's because his older sister started as a freshman at Texas Tech this year, which is a big thing. But what do you have to say, dude?
If you haven't subscribed to our channel or followed us on Facebook, do that now, and go look at our Instagram.
All right. Well, as little Max just said, make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, as well as make sure you have commented below and let us know the fish you think we should put in here. I am going to give you a second chance to win a piece of merch, and that is if I end up choosing your fish, the first person that comments the fish, if I end up choosing your fish to put in this tank, I'm going to send you a piece of merchandise as well. So make sure you comment as many times as you would like of what type of fish you want to see in this setup. Hopefully you guys went on to enjoy this setup, and hopefully you are enjoying the content that's coming out. We have another video coming out this upcoming Monday, so make sure you stay tuned, because this is going to be a video of us getting an animal that we have never owned before, and we actually already have it. We got a tank set up for it. Everything is good, so make sure you subscribe and turn on those notification bells, and you come back and see us on Monday. And with all of that, we are truly grateful for every one of you, and we will see you next time.